Trigger warning, premature babies. They told me my children were incompatible with life. This is Bristol and this is Brooklyn. They were born at 25 weeks and 2 days. One was 1 pound 10 ounces. The other one was 1 pound 12 ounces. This was the scariest moment of my life. What really surprised the doctors is that they came out breathing. But on day 4, everything changed. Bristol had a pulmonary hemorrhage and Brooklyn contracted bacterial meningitis. We went to the hospital that day. My church came, we prayed over them, and we left. And we were about 5 minutes from home. We got a call from the doctor. The doctor said, Bristol's not okay. We need you to come back right now. When we get back to the hospital, there's so many people in the room and they're looking at Bristol like I couldn't even get my words in. Turns out her lungs started to hemorrhage blood. They went to go do her suctioning and a lot of blood came out. So she was having a pulmonary hemorrhage. This turned out to be one of the longest nights of my life. That night around 3 o'clock in the morning, the doctor came in and said, it's time for us to make some decisions. How much are you going to put this little body through? According to your daughter's lab values, she's no longer compatible with life. I went upstairs to the roof to get just to think and to breathe. And I remember it was raining that night. And I said, God, there's no way you put these 2 children on this earth just to take them away in 4 days. There's no way that was your plan. I can't accept that. And I said, so if you are real, because my faith has been not the best throughout my lifetime, I said, if you are real, right now is the time to show up. The prior 6 to 7 hours, her arterial blood gases were bad. She was gray, all that. We went back into the hospital and I talked to their dad, like, how much can we put somebody that weighs 1 pound through? Let's hear what they have to say. And we were ready to sign that DNR, do not resuscitate, because I just felt like I felt horrible. But my mom had told me about the rescue hug. She's like, ask them if they can put the babies together to see if that will help. So I asked them, they said, yeah, we'll do that. And so I go in, they draw the arterial blood gases, and by the grace of God, all the values were normal. Everybody was just like so surprised. That's when I needed God to show up. The next blood draw after that, they were bad. And then it was shift change. This doctor came in who completely changed my life and said, these children are getting too much respiratory support. They turned down a couple settings. Bristol started to perfuse. Her skin started to go pink. All of that day is like a blur to me. The doctors and nurses told me I was so in tune to Bristol that I'd never even noticed the emergency that was happening with Brooklyn and her meningitis and how they were working on her. I have absolutely no memory of that. Like, I would never ignore one child, but perhaps my God just knew that was too much for me to handle at that time. That was in 2019, and the green is Bristol and the pink is Brooklyn. And I show you this to say because I have really been digging into the Bible and kind of feel like a fraud, but I'm just kind of going with it because in my heart of heart, I know it's what I want, and the Spirit's been heavy on me. But on the way to school today, we were listening to just our Jesus songs, and He's got the whole wide world in His hands. It was like the VeggieTales version, and my kids are singing it. And the part where it said, and it still brings me to tears, the part where it said, He's got the itty bitty baby in His hand. It was that part where I felt like I had to share this story with you guys because He had the itty bitty babies in His hand. I think He wanted me to have a reminder that when you prayed, I was there. And I needed that today more than anything. If there's any NICU parents or anybody that wants to hear the whole story about how I went into labor or anything, just leave it in the comments below. But it was on my heart to share this story of God's grace and resilience of my children.